almost 51% of our monthly disbursement, which represents almost 40% of the total values, actually coming from our repeat customers. We do recognize that we have two very distinct audiences, with completely different needs. Amongst the new set of borrowers or the Gen Z, I think convenience is, one of the most important benefits that they really seek. So,
Hi everyone. So powerful is the L&T prefix that you would be forgiven for believing that L&T Finance funds only infrastructure projects. Indeed, that is how it began its journey in 1994. But after several twists and turns and a couple of name changes, it is now sharply focused on retail lending. To emphasize this change, the company underwent a rebranding exercise last year. L&T Finance operates in a highly competitive environment made up of NBFCs like itself, banks, as well as young fintech companies. What does it take for a brand to succeed in such a cutthroat and regulated business? Let's ask Kavita Jagtiani, the CMO at L&T Finance. Yeah, hi Kavita. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show.
hi, Shrikant.
Hi. L&T Finance has reoriented itself from being a diversified NBFC to a retail focused lender. Now, from a marketing perspective, how have you been communicating this transformation without losing the trust of the old customers who have been with you for decades?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question, Shrikant. And yes, you're right. We have made a significant shift to being a retail focused NBFC. I think it all began with a great understanding of what the modern consumers seek in this category. And it's essentially what they see. They actually view brands, as partners in their financial journey. And this thus allows us to sort of own a end-to-end relationship and act as a trusted ally in their financial journey, and basically creating solutions that are tailored to their individual needs. So therefore, with this clarity, we've actually built a very powerful suite of retail solutions that are digitized, that are quick, and because we now know what is the baseline expectation of convenience that they have from us, from, let's say, the right product to the right messaging, because that's equally important for us. So therefore, an approach that is very classically followed in most of consumer product companies is inside led key messaging for most of our categories. And therefore, the work that we did was to actually look at the white spaces in each of the key categories, be it the home loan or business loan or a two-wheeler category, where we looked at what are the kind of pain points that the consumers really go through. And therefore, in the home loan specifically, we created what we call the complete home loan. And what this does is that it addresses all the need gaps that were unaddressed in the category, which included, let's say, when consumers are looking for a home loan, they end up really exhausting most of their finances and they don't really have an option to, let's say, do up their home. So that led to the introduction of what we call the home decor finance. Also in home loan, they needed help throughout their home loan journey, and therefore we introduced a dedicated relationship manager. So those are the kind of benefits that we introduce. Likewise, the same customer focused philosophy we also followed in our other categories. So let's say it's business loan, where we called it aapke business ka game changer business loan. Also just zoom two wheeler loans, which
Okay.
offer a high level of speed of approval, dispersal, etc. So all in all, I think our company wide pivot from wholesale to retail has been based on a very customer centric approach, and that's really
So,
what
but Kavita, the thing is that you had a L&T Finance had a certain image, right? And then you reoriented yourself. So actually the question was that were you losing your old customers to acquire new ones? Did the old customers were they? How did you stop? I mean, they could have got a little perturbed at how different L&T Finance now was, right? Wasn't that an issue?
So I would say not really, because I think the work that we did, we were able to actually synergize uh, all the work that we've done in the past with, I would say, a more refreshed identity. And that's the point that I was coming to, that we actually revisited and did a brand refresh where we called out really what we stand for in the lives of consumers. We also created a sonic identity which actually resonated well both with our urban and our rural audiences. So I think the work that we did really was to refresh the brand, to stay relevant, and to call out the key benefits that the consumers were actually, were actually seeking from us. So that's really how we were not able we therefore did not alienate our existing
Existing
customers.
customers. Okay. Now I've always wondered about this, that unlike banks, where you have a relationship, you'll go to the ATM, you'll do something with the bank, something goes on, the bank is always top of mind in some way, it's always there, right? How do, how do NBFCs such as yours stay on top of mind? Because you want to be in touch with the customer so that next time when he or she wants a loan, they come to you, right? How do you stay top of mind with them? I've always wondered about this.
Sure. So you're absolutely right. We don't have the passive engagement of, the deposit account holders. But what we have done is we've actually created a more proactive and intelligent engagement model. So we
Mm.
ensure that we have the right visibility at the right time in the consumer journey. And all of this is actually powered by our MarkTech stack. So our MarkTech capability that's combined with the propensity models and predictive analytics has helped us to drive that degree of customization and relevance in all our cross sell initiatives. So we're therefore able to offer a very tangible value like pre-approved loans, very specific to the consumer sets that we are targeting, and therefore have almost like a continuous dialogue with them, whether it's through our communication, through our in-app notification. So we're actually able to do a lot of cross sell amongst our existing customer base. And what and of course it's also evident that like today we have a Planet app which has about over 2 crore downloads, and what we've seen is that almost 51% of our monthly disbursement, which represent almost 40% of the total values, actually coming from our repeat customers. And that's really a
That's
focus, it's obviously brought about through focus on both security and reliability. So
okay.
so these are the ways in which we are driving a lot of growth amongst our existing customers, who obviously therefore keep coming back to us in their next purchasing cycle.
Okay. Okay. So another question, which is a pretty fundamental question about companies such as yours, which is that on the one hand, you have banks which are highly trusted. They are old. People put their money there, right? And on the other hand, there are fintechs which are younger. They're very quick, right? And companies such as yours are in the middle. So how do you, as a marketing leader, get your brand to stand out in this melee?
Right. So I think we try to blend both of these, while you're right at a group level, we of course, leverage the immense imagery and trust that is inspired by our parent brand, which is the L&T group, because the name is synonymous to nation building, and it, gives a strong foundation of both credibility and of course, a lot of positive appeal. But what we also try to do is that we create that kind of balance by ensuring that uh, we have extreme transparency in all our marketing communication, and we are the upper layer NBFC, so we are driven by very high standards of both security and compliances. But at the same time, we also work in the direction of positioning ourselves as this digital first or a digitally native lender. And to that effect, of course, what we have is we have our 24 by 7 channels, which is either our Planet app or WhatsApp or chatbot, IVR, or even our website. So All of these are what we are using to empower our customers. And additionally, we're using AI in practically all areas, be it fraud control or underwriting or customer service. So
Okay.
increasingly deploying AI and machine learning. And therefore, I think, it's our digital ecosystem or our digital prowess which is actually enabling this positioning for us, which is a great
So,
blend of both trust and tech.
okay. When you look at what digital has done for L&T Finance, right? Has it, I mean, where has it made the biggest impact? Has it been in acquisition? Has it been in retention from marketing standpoint, right? Where has the biggest impact of using the power of digital been? I'll come to AI slightly later, if you don't mind,
Sure.
right?
Sure, no worries. So you're right. So while we are building capabilities both in acquisition and retention, I think our focus has been more towards customer acquisition. It also happens to be our first key pillar in our organization's Lakshya goals, where the first pillar is all about new customer acquisition and retention. And
Okay.
so for on the acquisition front, of course, what we're doing is we're building a lot of high impact campaigns, which are obviously linked to, like I spoke about earlier, the white spaces in the category, and
Correct.
calling those benefits out. And therefore, with all of these category refresh, we're actually building a new customer base, and we're adding new customers. And in order to widen, let's say, this new customer at scale, we also formed a lot of partnerships. So these are with all the major techs, which is Google Pay, Amazon Pay, Cred, Phone Pay, etc. And all of these collaborations have helped us to reach a vast and an active digitally native audiences on the platform that they already use. So I think it's really a combination that has helped us to expand our user base. We're also expanding our footprints through distribution, of course, both in rural and urban. And today, I think our current customer base stands at approximately 2.7 crore.
Okay. In this quest for growth, now you've been with the company for about 2 years. What is the big challenge, big marketing challenge that you see sitting where you are?
But I
What
think
to accelerate growth, right? What is the thing that, let's say, gets in the way that you need to get over, you have to surmount?
Well, so I would say that the work that has happened largely has been in areas of the product suite and technology. But in terms of awareness, I would say those are areas that we need to do significant work on, which is to drive both top of mind brand awareness, as well as to be in the consideration set, also to ensure that all the messaging comprehension is really done in the way that we are targeting. So I think these are really the areas that I would say are still to be worked on, which is how do
Okay.
we improve or enhance the awareness for especially our key lines of businesses, both in rural and in urban. So that I think is the key task, which is to drive awareness and to drive brand salience.
Okay. So, on the one hand, you've got microfinance borrowers in rural areas, right? Correct. And you also have people who want loans in their urban areas, right? So, from a brand standpoint, how do you see any contradiction, any conflict when you are trying to address both of them? Is there something differently? I mean, how do you, from a brand architecture point of view, how do you come across in a way that appeals to both sides? And they're very different, right?
That's right. You're right. So well, our brand architecture is built from the customer up, and it's not really brand down. So, we do recognize that we have two very distinct audiences, with
Correct.
completely different needs. So, our communication is actually tailored to those specific audiences, and we don't use what we say one size that fits all, because
Okay.
we work differently in each of these segments. So, let's say to begin with, we have Jasprit Bumrah, who is our brand ambassador and who
Correct.
so well connects with the urban and the mass audiences. And so for the urban segment, which is almost constituting about 58% of our business, we ensured that to speak to this audience, we're using a lot of mass media or digital or high impact media, which is very relevant for this audience. So let's say, for example, for our home loans, we're using connected TV, we're using airport branding, and that's really relevant to reach out to the prime and the subprime customers. Uh,
Okay.
Whereas on the rural side, let's say in the rural segment, which obviously is constituting about 42%, that is more focused on livelihood based products. So it's like your microfinance or your farm equipment.
Correct.
And there it's all about trust, it's about community, it's about personal relationships. So therefore there our strategy is more high touch, building the
Okay.
trust through let's say our dedicated feet on street, which is a large number, and of course a lot of visibility in terms of wall paintings and pamphlets and branch communication, which of course we are expanding our footprint. So I think it's a great way to actually drive a lot of
Okay.
authenticity, and that's how really we balance our both urban and
Is there a
rural.
lot of, I mean, you can't stop the spillover when you use a lot of media. Now, your advertising is getting more high profile, right? There's a spillover in rural areas, and is that okay? I mean, or
Yes, so we do see that there is a spillover in rural areas, and of course, it just helps us to drive more salience. Having said that, of course, we do like a day in a life of a consumer, and therefore understand what are the relevant media touch points, which are relevant for both the urban and the rural audience, and therefore
okay,
deploy in accordance.
okay. Um, and of these two segments, the urban and the rural, which is growing faster now? Where is your emphasis?
Right. So the emphasis, of course, is in the urban segment, and that is growing faster, and therefore a lot of growth is being seen in home loans, in two wheeler, and of course there are new products that are also to be launched, and therefore there's more growth to be seen in this segment.
So, say 2 years back when you joined, now you're saying the urban segment is 58%, correct? So, 2 years
Right.
back, how much might it have been, just roughly?
I would think it would be around 50%.
So, it's grown quite a bit then, about 3-4% a year. Yeah, that's all. Um, Kavita, how do you measure marketing ROI in a business such as this? One way would be, of course, creating a relationship with dispersals. On the other hand, metrics such as trust can only be measured over a much longer period of time. So, how do you find a balance between the two?
Right. So, of course, we try our best to strike a balance with a very clear dual approach. So, we try to build the brand in a at an overarching level. So, through social media, we're building high levels of engagement and awareness through our brand campaign. So, for example, last year, let's say we did something called Sapna Wali Diwali, which was an AI-led campaign, which
Okay.
actually, was designed to help the customers visualize their dreams through an AI powered tool. So, similar such initiatives that we introduce around the year actually help us to create that emotional connect with our consumers,
Okay.
by aligning our offerings with their personal aspirations. So
Right.
that's one side of the story. And of course what we additionally do is that all of the campaigns that I spoke about, the integrated marketing campaigns for our key businesses, be it home loan or two wheeler, all of those are actually executing very targeted high impact campaigns which obviously drive business results. So therefore we're weaving these tracks even closer than before, and we are evolving our narrative from being just providing loans to what we say we empower your life goals, and that's really what the transition has been that helps us to create that right balance.
When you look at the last point, at the point where the customer is deciding, let's look at the urban customer. Okay. Uh, the last, the last mile, the last point actually where the customer is going to decide whether he or she is going to go with X brand or Y brand. What is the stuff that really weighs in your experience? Because there's also a new sector for you for in the last 2 years, right? So what is the stuff that tilts them over? I mean, apart from the obvious one, which may be interest, which would be interest rates, I suppose. Apart from that, what is the thing that moves them one way or the other?
Right. So I think, like I said, I think it's uh, if it is an inside led communication and we're able to actually understand the pulse of the customer, then the offerings and of course the communication around it is what I think is a deciding factor. So for example,
Okay.
let's say in two wheeler category, we know clearly that speed is a great differentiator. So let's say the speed of approval or speed of dispersal can make a lot of difference, and therefore if we build on that, and let's say we have a process or an AI tool called Project Cyclops, which enables this. So I think with a lot of these enablers and with, I would say, inside led communication, we're seeing that consumers are favoring or are responding to our campaigns a lot more than what they used to do previously.
Okay, and and speed you're saying is a big factor, right?
Let's say in this category, in the case of two wheelers, and likewise, what we've realized is in the case of, let's say, business loan, it is actually access to quick and easy finance, which is extremely important. Or an additional feature that we launched in business loan was app based withdrawal, which I think is so important for the business owners to actually address all the business requirements. And therefore these features that are enabled
Hmm.
with our product solutions are actually becoming the big differentiators.
Okay, that's interesting. I've been interviewing many CMOs over the last few months, and everybody talks about how, in some form or the other, the young's attitude towards brands, towards services, towards products is changing, has changed, right? And one of the things that comes through, by the way, you mentioned speed, and that's why I thought of this, which was that about how quick com is a good indicator of, let's say, the frame of mind of many young people, right? What do you see? What is the big change or changes or trends that you have been seeing among young borrowers in the last 2 years?
Well, so I think amongst the new set of borrowers or the Gen Z, I think convenience is, one of the most important benefits that they really seek. So I think as compared to what it was in the past, the levels of the benchmark of convenience has significantly gone up. So obviously, what they want is digitized processes, ease of application, also having this omni-channel presence wherein you are available at across all the touch points throughout the consumer journey. And with this understanding, I think and the digital ecosystem that we've created, whether it's a very intuitive app or it's our website, I think we're able to therefore influence the younger generation with the kind of digitization that we've really brought about.
Okay. You know, you use the word influence, so I have to ask you that what is your view on the use of social media influencers? And what is the stuff one has to watch out for in the use of influencers in a sector as sensitive as this one?
So yes, I think we do. In as a part of our marketing strategy on social media, in
Right.
addition to, of course, the kind of social media creatives across touch points, we also deploy influencers, and I think these are influencers who are, let's say, at a very hyper local level. So these are our local influencers or nano influencers who actually have a great let's say followership amongst the local audiences. So the kind of the ability that they really have to connect with the local audiences and put the right messaging in their local languages, etc., obviously is an important part of our campaign, and therefore yes, we do deploy them
And
depending on what.
what are the flags to red flags when it comes to the use of influencers in your sector? What is the stuff you would tell uh, a student? This is the stuff you should really watch out for about how to get it wrong. So,
Well, so I think so. These are two different questions. Of course, one is we use these influencers mainly to support our product-led communication. So of
Correct.
course, these are influencers who would have experienced our products and would obviously speak about the digitized process and the paperless journey, etc.
Okay, okay. They're just explaining the whole thing.
Yes, that's right. So those are
Oh, okay.
more to sort of support what our product offering or our product suite benefits are through,
Right.
of course, their own style and content.
Okay. All right. I got it. Yeah, I got it. But when you say local or hyper local, how local are these? But we are talking about the use of a language in a state, that kind of thing, or even more local than that?
I would say it's one is of course yes,
Language.
using that language. The other thing is that we try to be local in the sense, especially for our rural or our microfinance category, where we actually use our real customers in our communication. So, for
Oh,
example, whether it's a lady who's into pottery or in farming, these are actual customers who are depicted in our communication, whether it's through social media or through our branches. So therefore there's a lot of relatability and there's also a lot of authenticity in what the rural customers experience when they see our real customers who are talking to them
correct.
and explaining the benefits.
Okay. Kavita, what has been the impact of emerging technology in your sector? And what are the ways in which your company has innovated here? I think you mentioned a couple of things, but if you'd like to expound on that further.
Yeah, you're right. So, we have been at the forefront of using AI, for creating very personalized and interactive marketing campaigns. So, for example, let's say we use a lot of AI and technology to drive a lot of efficiency in content creation. So, for example, very recent festive campaign, which was called "Is Diwali Sab Honge Kamyab," was actually a AI generated video, which had, of course, the entire messaging and the narrative all done generated by AI. But additionally, a lot of our campaigns also leverage AI. So, for example, when we launched our campaign called Bowl with Bumrah, which was for our two-wheeler category, we actually created an AI microsite where consumers who were our mass audiences could actually upload their picture while they are bowling, and through AI powered tool, they could actually get a personalized analysis about their speed or their bowling style, all of that, which was of course compared to our brand ambassador Jasprit Bumrah. So I think a lot of mass engagement and personalization is being deployed through AI. Likewise, for our business loan category too, we again launched an AI powered microsite, which actually enabled the business owners to create personalized posters with our brand ambassador and also customized taglines for their line of business, and also had an opportunity again powered by tech to see them featured on our outdoor hoardings, of course, to recognize them amongst the audience. So all of these were tech enabled and therefore increasingly using tech in our marketing campaigns. But I must say that as an industry too, we're doing a lot of work. So for example, we are in the process of actually hosting, in fact, in the month of November itself, the second
Hmm.
edition of Raise. Raise is an AI platform that we've created. So it's an event where we house all the AI experts, and the theme this year is actually accelerating the use of AI in financial services, and that really puts together all the best of the minds in AI, and that's the work that we also do.
That's interesting. Why have you taken the initiative on this?
I think it's one, of course, is that, to begin with, we obviously wanted to reimagine the use of AI. That's the work that we did at a foundation level. But over the last few years, we've also been able to accelerate the use of AI. So, a lot of, let's say, use cases that we've deployed. For example, we have AI ML based, credit engine called Project Cyclops and few other such use cases. And so the idea was to actually put all the minds together to get all the experts to sort of share what are the kind of trends that are prevalent, what are the kind of use cases, also demonstrate our own use cases to inspire others in the industry. So it was all about to create more and more use of AI, and to actually be the front runner in deploying AI in our industry.
Okay. Uh, Now, one last question, which is about advertising. What is the role? I mean, especially so, I'm trying to imagine 2 years back when you came in and you were new to this sector, right? And you had a certain idea. I'm guessing that this is the way advertising could work uh, for your brand. And now you have been there for 2 years. And what is the role that advertising plays? And has your view of what advertising can do in this for this brand, has it changed?
I would say it's evolved. So while of course fundamentally, of course, the role of advertising is to generate a the awareness and the responsiveness to the campaigns or the messaging that helps us to drive the kind of growth in the category. The other, I think, is of course a lot more evolved, especially in this sector, is to actually create a lot of authentic experiences with the end consumers, because whether it is putting out the success stories of let's say our microfinance women, or it's about campaigns that are a lot more endearing, or use of technology, but of course with the human touch. I think those are the kind of let's say facets that I'm seeing are evolving, and we are increasingly using that in our communication.
Okay, great. What's going to be the big, so when you look forward, I mean, this is really my last question. When you look forward to say the next 2 years, right? What is uh, the big mountain you'd like to climb, as it were, in marketing terms?
So I would say, clearly to drive awareness. I think it's very important that we drive awareness, and also I would say, improve, let's say, our conversions and our traction in each of our categories as a result of the awareness that we've generated.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Kavita. I think that was very, I must tell you, I must admit that this is the first time I've done an interview in this sector.
All
So I've
right.
learned quite a lot. Yeah, I've learned quite a lot today. So thank you very much. Okay,
Nice.
bye
Nice
bye.
talking to you too, Shrikant.
Nice talking
Goodbye.
to you. Bye. See you.